The word struck like a slap, sharp and unexpected, but I didn't flinch. Didn't even pause with my fork halfway to my mouth. At least Mom's new husband isn't a loser like you. 17 years old. My son Jake delivered the line with that effortless cruelty only teenagers seem to master, his voice pitched just loud enough for the surrounding tables to catch it like a performance. I finished chewing, set down my fork with deliberate calm, and looked across the table at the boy I'd raised. The boy whose college tuition I was paying for, whose car insurance, phone bill, and nearly every other expense still drained quietly from my accounts each month. The same boy who spent every other weekend under my roof since the divorce, eating my food, lounging on my couch, using my Wi-Fi to trash talk me in group chats he didn't know I had access to. "Excuse me?" I asked, my voice low. He didn't even glance up from his phone. "You heard me." The waitress approached cautiously, picking up on the tension in the air like a storm rolling in. I smiled at her, a real smile, not the bitter, strained twist I felt inside. "Check, please." I've been called worse by better people, but this cut differently. It cut deeper, because it came from someone who should have known better. Someone who had seen me break my back to keep his world from falling apart after his mother decided that stability was just too boring. The divorce wasn't explosive. It was quietly brutal in that particular way that middle-class breakups tend to be. Sarah found someone with deeper pockets and fewer principles, and somehow I became the villain in the tale she spun. The emotionally unavailable husband, the workaholic, the man who loved his job more than his family. Never mind that the job was the very thing keeping that family afloat. Jake picked sides early, not with declarations, but with all the small, consistent betrayals that matter. The eye rolls when I picked him up, the offhand comparisons, the way Richard, his stepfather, was always the gold standard. Richard, who bought him a car at 16. Richard, who flew and became coon for spring break. Richard, who became everything I wasn't and everything I was never given a chance to be. I absorbed it all with the quiet endurance of a father who believed love wasn't conditional, that being a parent meant weathering the hits and staying in the ring, that eventually Jake would grow up and realize who had stood beside him all along. But sitting in that restaurant, watching my son dismiss me with the same sharp and contempt his mother had polished perfection, something shifted inside. Not rage. Rage is too wild, too hot. This was cleaner, colder, like glass, like ice. I paid the bill and drove him back to his mother's house. Neither of us spoke. He got out without a word, didn't say goodbye. That night, I sat in my study with a bottle of bourbon and my laptop open on the desk. I'd supported Jake's lifestyle for years, telling myself that's what good fathers did. Car payments, insurance, phone bills, college tuition, spending money. It was all a quiet network of support he never had to think about, precisely because it was so steady, so reliable, so invisible. I started with a car, a decent Honda I'd co-signed for. The payments came out of my account each month, like clockwork. Monday morning, I called the finance company. As the primary on the loan, I had every right to surrender the vehicle. They scheduled the pickup for Tuesday. Next came the phone. A family plan in my name, my credit. One call to Verizon, and Jake's line was gone. Then the college account, the fund I'd been quietly feeding to cover his junior year. Tuition, books, dorm, meals, all frozen. Not erased. I'm not cruel, but enough to send a clear signal. The call started Wednesday. First Jake, confused and panicked because his car vanished and his phone had gone dark. Then Sarah, her voice seething with outrage, demanding explanations. Then Richard, calm and composed, trying to mediate with a steady, reasonable tone. I let every call go to voicemail. Sarah showed up at my office on Thursday, red-faced, vibrating with the kind of righteous fury that only appears when someone's well-curated comfort is suddenly threatened. "You can't just cut him off," she said, standing in my doorway like a prophet of wrath. "He's your son." I didn't look up from my computer. "Yes," I said. "He is." "This is about Sunday night, isn't it?" What he said. I finally lifted my head, really looked at her, the woman I'd once loved, who had shared my home, my plans, my dreams, my name, until she found someone with shinier future. No, I said, this is about consequences. She tried logic, then negotiation, then veiled threats. I listened to them all with the patience of a man who had finally lost the appetite for being liked. He's 17, she said eventually. He's just a kid. He's old enough to choose his words, I replied. So he's old enough to live with them. That evening, Jake called from Sarah's phone. His voice sounded different, smaller, unsure. Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. Yes, you did, I answered gently. And that's okay. You're allowed to feel however you feel about me, but you're not allowed to treat me like garbage and expect me to keep funding the performance. I need my car for work. Then you'll figure out, the same way millions of other 17-year-olds do. Dad, please. I love you, Jake. I always will. But respect isn't optional anymore. When you're ready to talk to me like I'm a human being, we can talk about everything else. I hung up, poured myself another bourbon. Outside, the sun was setting slow and golden, painting the silence of my house in warm, forgiving tones. Amber spilled across the hardwood. Gold threaded through the windows. And for the first time in what felt like months, I could breathe again. Some lessons cost more than others, but some lessons are worth every single penny.